We go now to the last part. We already have seen the present realities. We already have also seen the gospel of creation. We already have a understanding on internal ecology, and we were guided by the different principles. And now we are now ready to act. What will it accomplish? Why? Where? When? How? For whom? What are the risks? What are the costs? Who will pay for the cost and how? This is the question posed by Pope Francis in the document. The first thing that we need to understand or to know on this document is Pope Francis' dialogue. Pope Francis' action and advocacy on dialogue. We have been hearing much attention from Pope Francis as regards dialogue. And in this document, with the varied and various sources that he had used, we know the fact that Pope Francis is dialoguing or having a dialogue to each and every one of us. And the first dialogue in the act part is the dialogue in the international community. An interdependent world motivates us to ensure that solutions are proposed from a global perspective and not simply to defend the interests of few countries. Interdependence obliges us to think of one world with a common plan. The next dialogue is dialogue for new national and local policies. Questions related to the environment and economic development also calls for greater attention to policies on the national and local levels. As we have seen that there should be an international dialogue, whatever be tackling or whatever things being discussed on that international dialogue, it should also be radiated and expressed on the national and local policies because as we have been telling a while ago, in whatever settings that we are or where we are, there is a certain global impact. The next dialogue is in the transparency in decision making, an assessment on the environment, of the environmental impact of business ventures and projects demands transparent political processes involving a free exchange of views. So there should be a transparency in decision making because this transparency would call on a dialogue both from the proponent of programs and projects and also for those of being affected on these programs and development. And so there should be a mutual understanding on both on the benefit and the harmful effects of these projects. And so decision making should not only come from the proponent of those projects and developments, but they should also hear the sentiments and the side of those people who will be affected when these projects are to be put up. The next is politics and economy in dialogue for human fulfillment. There is an urgent need for politics and economics to enter into a frank dialogue in the service of life, especially human life. So both politics and economy should dwell or should gear on the quality of human life. There should be a harmony between these three aspects. Religions in dialogue with science is also very important. Pope Francis is reminding us that believers themselves must constantly feel challenged to live in a way consonant with their faith and not to contradict it by their actions. And so there should be a relevant and a meaningful relationship between our faith, between what we believe, and with what we do on the environment. Pope Francis is telling us that realities are greater than ideas. And this is very important in having our part, in taking part on the care of our common home, that we are really indeed to look unto the realities because they are greater than ideas. And our ideas should also be put to reality by our will, our ideas of caring for our common home, our ideas of being one with the nation, with all the nations, for being one with the government, the ideas that we are really indeed in a universal communion, we are to put them in reality. And putting them in reality calls for us to have a new way of life, a new lifestyle. Pope Francis is telling us that human beings, while capable of the worst, are also capable of rising above themselves, choosing again what is good, and making a new start, despite their mental and social conditioning. This is now a very consoling part of the Laudato Si. While Pope Francis has been presenting to us the realities of the problems of the environment and the roots from our wounded heart, from the violence of our hearts wounded by sin, Pope Francis is now consoling us that we have this capability to rise above ourselves, to transcend whatever we are doing, to choose again what is good and to stop and to make a new start. And making a new start would mean an important tools and instruments to do this. And first, Pope Francis is telling us to have an environmental education, and this should facilitate making the leap towards the transcendent, which gives ecological ethics in its deepest meaning. So, environmental education is very important, but this education should lead us to a shift, to a great leap towards transcendence. And that is from what we are doing, we could transcend it to our care of our common home. It can take place in a variety of settings, at school, in families, in the media, in catechesis, and elsewhere. So we could educate our family members in our home. We can educate through media. We could educate about environment in our catechesis. And in everywhere we are, we can do environmental education. Next tool or instrument, and this is very important, is ecological conversion. This calls us that the effects of our encounter with Jesus Christ become evident in our relationship with the world around us. We could not proudly say that we have a very great relationship with Jesus Christ if we do not care for our common home. It is not a Christian way of telling that we believe, that we have faith in Jesus Christ, if we cannot even take care of our environment. And so ecological conversion is very important. This is such a spirituality that we can draw from Saint Francis. A healthy relationship with creation is one dimension of overall personal conversion, which entails the recognition of our errors, sins, faults, and failures, and leads to heartfelt repentance and desire to change. And we have different attitudes with this ecological conversion. First is gratitude. We are very grateful that we have creations, that we acknowledge that creations are gifts from God. We should also have this loving awareness that we are joined in the splendid universal communion. Yes, it is very fact that we are in universal communion, and we need to have a loving awareness. It's not only an awareness, but a loving awareness. It's an awareness from our hearts. It inspires us to greater creativity and enthusiasm in resolving world's problems. As we are in universal communion, we are also invited and we are encouraged to do our part in solving the problem. Our superiority as one that would be responsible to the care of our environment. Our superiority as entails a serious responsibility stemming from our faith. We have already have heard this from the dialogue between religion and science, that our faith should be manifested on what we are doing.